This video examines the history of big business and the labor movement, specifically focusing on the contrasting roles of John D. Rockefeller and Mother Jones, while exploring concepts like social Darwinism and the evolution of labor unions. Key lecture topics include the efforts of Mother Jones in fighting for the working class against industrial conditions, and the rise of John D. Rockefeller and Standard Oil, justified by the ideology of social Darwinism. Mother Jones, once described as the most dangerous woman alive, was a pivotal figure in the labor movement, dedicated to supporting workers and their families. Her famous declaration, "You don't need the vote to raise hell," underscored her commitment to direct action and advocacy for justice. Mother Jones spoke passionately on justice, the lack of status for women in a corporate-dominated society, and the devastating, dangerous conditions faced by children working in industry. In a bold challenge to state authority, Mother Jones addressed a governor, asserting that they did not own the state and questioning their accountability in the face of tyranny. Mother Jones campaigned against the human costs of the Industrial Revolution, challenging both the ideology of social Darwinism and the unchecked power of big business. Social Darwinism promoted a mindset where adaptation to one's social environment defined entitlement to wealth, often incorporating ideas like the Protestant work ethic and laissez-faire economics. The ideology drew on the scientific theories of Charles Darwin, emphasizing concepts like heredity, variation, and the survival of those best adapted to their environment. Applying these views to charity, proponents of social Darwinism, including Herbert Spencer, viewed the poor as a drag on society and argued that helping them was an act of extreme cruelty. In the context of business, success was seen as an indicator of natural superiority. Consequently, government interference in social or economic matters was strongly opposed to avoid disrupting this process. John D. Rockefeller exemplified these principles. From early partnerships to his strategic investment in the petroleum industry and the organization of Standard Oil, he consolidated power using these business tactics. By utilizing tactics such as demanding railroad rebates and employing vertical integration to control the supply chain, Standard Oil achieved dominance over 90% of the refined oil market by 1890. Rockefeller famously used a rose analogy to justify his monopoly, arguing that the growth of a large business, like the growth of a rose, required the sacrifice of the smaller buds around it. Finally, we consider the Marxist perspective, which views history as a series of class struggles defined by the control of the means of production and the inherent tension between capitalist profit and worker pay. This section examines Karl Marx's view of government, characterizing the modern state as a committee formed to manage the common affairs of the bourgeoisie. The labor movement was shaped by two primary perspectives: the radical approach, which sought to reject corporate capitalism, and the trade union perspective, which focused on management and adjustments through strikes. Radical unionism evolved from organizations like the Knights of Labor, which pioneered national efforts to unionize, to the American Federation of Labor, which signaled a shift toward organized craft and trade unionism after 1886. The American Federation of Labor, founded by Samuel Gompers, championed, quote, business unionism, prioritizing practical economic goals like wages over broad political upheavals. During the Gilded Age, the Republican Party dominated politics by pivoting from an anti-slavery platform to one strongly supportive of industrial expansion, high protective tariffs, and minimal government interference. Mother Jones brought urgent attention to the plight of industrial workers, notably leading the Children's March of 1903 to protest the dangerous conditions facing young factory workers. In her testimony, Mother Jones highlighted the physical toll of labor on young children, contrasting their exhausting workdays with the opportunities afforded to the children of the wealthy. Visual records from this era capture the difficult reality and the public response to the systemic challenges faced by labor organizers during the early 20th century. Archival imagery provides further insight into the industrial landscape that defined the experiences of the American working class. These records document the historical environment and the conditions that necessitated the mobilization of labor movements across the nation. Historical documentation continues to illustrate the struggles and the evolving strategies of early labor leaders in the United States. The legacy of these movements remains preserved in various archives, detailing the path toward organized labor reforms. Further examination of historical records reveals the complexities and the impact of the labor initiatives led by figures such as Mother Jones. Mother Jones campaigned for federal reform to ensure nationwide protection for children, utilizing the March of the Mill Children to expose the harsh realities of their labor. Eugene Debs underscored the systemic nature of child labor, arguing that the industrial system prioritized cheap labor over human welfare, a theme that remains central to understanding labor history. Mother Jones's advocacy, characterized by her bold speeches and direct action, led many of her contemporaries, including Eugene Debs, to describe her as an embodiment of the revolutionary spirit. This video has explored how Mother Jones challenged the unchecked power of industrial leaders, seeking to dismantle the exploitation inherent in the era's economic systems. The ongoing efforts to pass federal legislation reflect the long road toward labor reform and the struggle to end the use of child labor in American factories. From the initial challenges in the early 1900s to the eventual constitutional recognition of labor laws in 1941, the path to reform was fraught with legal setbacks and persistent activism. In summary, the lives and work of figures like Mother Jones and Eugene Debs remind us of the history of the labor movement and the continuous pursuit of fair working conditions for all.